All right, welcome to NBDE Microbiology review series number 7. Okay, make sure you subscribe, watch the previous series 1 through 6, and then also watch this one. All right, so this one we're going to discuss the cytokines such as leukins, which are produced by the host immune cells. All right, so interleukin 1. Okay. So IO means interleukin. Okay. So interleukin. So IO1 or interleukin 1, the source is primarily the phagocytes, and you know that the phagocytes are mostly the monocytes and the macrophages, and the function, okay, of the IO1 is to activate T cells. Also, it acts as a tumor necrosis factor, which kills the cancer cells. It also controls inflammatory process, increases surface adhesion to endothelial cells. Okay, make sure you know the functions of these interleukins. Interleukin 2, the source of interleukin 2 is the T cells. Okay, after the T cells binds an antigen. Okay, AG is antigen. All right. And the function of the interleukin 2 is to promote proliferation, okay, and differentiation of the immune cells. Also promotes the apoptosis of the antigen activated T cells to control the immune response. And the interleukin 4 is produced by T helper cells, okay, or Th2 cells, also produced by mast cells and basophils. And a function of interleukin 4 is to promote proliferation and differentiation of immune cells, so similar to interleukin 2. And it also promotes the apoptosis of the activated T cell to control the immune response. So it's IO2 and IO4, or interleukin 2 and interleukin 4, are produced by different cells. However, the function is similar. Okay. Interleukin 5. The source of interleukin 5 is T helper cells and mast cells. And the interleukin 5, the function is usually to help the growth and differentiation of eosinophils. Okay. And eosinophils are key immune cells for parasitic infections. Okay, so if there's a parasitic infection, you're going to see eosinophil rise, and you're also going to see the interleukin 5 increase in the blood. All right, so and also interleukin 5 helps the B cells to differentiate. And remember, the B cell differentiation is responsible for production of interleukin. All right. Not interleukin, but immunoglobulins. Immunoglobulins such as immunoglobulin A, immunoglobulin E, immunoglobulin M, okay, and D. All right. So we're going to discuss there about immunoglobulin in the subsequent lectures. Okay, make sure you subscribe. All right. Okay. So interleukin 6 or IO6 is produced by macrophages. All right, endothelial cells and T cells, and the function. Okay, this one. So the interleukin 5 helps differentiation of B cells into plasma cells to produce immunoglobulins. However, interleukin 6 comes in and helps the proliferation of plasma cells. So these are already B cells which have matured to become plasma cells. Okay, and therefore the synthesis of immunoglobulins is increased, and so this enhances immune response. Okay, so you have to understand the functions of interleukins. And synthesis of protein in the liver that are important for inflammation are also increased when IO6 is produced. Okay. So these interleukins are signals for other cells to take action. So interleukin 10 is produced by the T helper cells, and the function of interleukin 10 is to inhibit expression of MHC2. Okay, MHC2 on the macrophages. So MHC2 is it is MHC1, MHC2. MHC2 on macrophages in is inhibited by interleukin 10. And also interleukin 10 inhibits macrophages from making interleukin 12 and tumor necrosis factor, and thus inhibits expression of co-stimulators. Okay, so you are seeing that after all these interleukins are produced to activate other immune cells, the immune system is also responsible to produce other interleukins, which is going to suppress the immune response. So the immune system keeps itself in check. Okay, and interleukin 12, the source of interleukin 12 is mononuclear phagocytes such as monocytes, okay, and dendritic cells. And the function of interleukin 12 is to secrete interferon gamma. Okay, IFN is interferon, and interferon gamma is produced by natural killer cells, NK cells, and T cells. All right, and it causes the catalytic activity of natural killer cells and cytotoxic CD8 T cells. All right, and also causes differentiation of CD4. CD4 cells are T helper 1 cells or T cells, and it also mediates the early innate immunity. Remember, we have innate immunity and adaptive immunity, all right, and induces cell mediated immunity, all right. So make sure you understand the function of the interleukins, how they play in their role in the innate immunity, okay, and the way they induce the cell mediated immunity, all right. So you remember, you have to know that the innate immunity and the cell mediated immunity are linked. Okay, now the tumor necrosis factor, or TNF, the source is the mononuclear phagocytes such as dendritic cells and monocytes, and the function of tumor necrosis factor is to induce, okay, the production of interleukin 1 by macrophages, and also causes apoptosis of some T cells. It also mediates, and which is the reason the tumor necrosis factor. It's called tumor necrosis factor because it causes apoptosis of cancer cells. Okay, so the tumor necrosis factor mediates the acute inflammatory response to microbes. Also, helps with the recruitment and activation of neutrophils and monocytes to the site of infection, and stimulates endothelial cells to express adhesion molecules and chemokines. All right. All right. So, what are chemokines? So, the chemokines are the cytokines. Okay. So, that they are chemicals which induce the movement or chemotaxis of the immune cells. So they stimulate leukocyte movement. Okay, chemokines are molecules that stimulate leukocyte movement. Remember, in the previous lectures, we discussed about chemotaxis, phototaxis, all right, and how these stimulants cause the cells of bacteria to move, all right. This is similar to immune cells also. So the chemokines regulate migration of lymphocytes. All right, lymphocytes such as B cells and T cells. Okay, they move from blood to tissue. That is chemotactic cytokines, and they are important in the immune response of to local infections. Okay, now let's discuss about type 1 interferon. We discussed about the interferon, which is produced by the natural killer cells. Okay, and so the interferon type 1, such as interferon alpha, is made by mononuclear phagocytes, dendritic cells, monocytes, and interferon beta is made by many cells and such as uh, fibroblasts. Okay, so you have to know that fibroblasts also play an important role in the immunity. All right. So the function of type 1 interferons, all right, such as interferon alpha and beta, okay, the function is inhibit, okay, is to inhibit viral replication, all right, and they also stimulate the development of T helper 1 cells. They increase the expression of MHC1. Okay, which cells have MHC1 on them? These are the CD8 cytotoxic T cells. So they increase the expression of MHC1 and innate response, and also the innate response to the viral infection and cell-mediated response to microbes. So they are key. The interferon are key factors in inducing the CD8 cytotoxic T cells, which are MHC1, okay, and increase their cell-mediated response to microbes. All right. All right. So interferon gamma, usually the source for this one is T cells and natural killer cells or NK cells, and the function of the interferon gamma is activating. Okay, is a activation of macrophage proliferation. Okay, so it increases the macrophages, the number of macrophages in blood. Also promotes T helper 1 differentiation, while it inhibits T helper 2 cells, okay, differentiation. It also promotes the B cell isotype switching. So B cell isotype switching it means, remember, the B cells, they mature to become plasma cells, and the plasma cell can do isotype switching. It can produce one immunoglobulin and then switch to produce another immunoglobulin. Okay. Remember, the primary immunoglobulin which is secreted initially is immunoglobulin M. All right. And later on, with more exposure to the microbes, all right, there's isotype switching, so the plasma cells start producing other immunoglobulins such as immunoglobulin G or IgG. Okay, and also helps stimulate expression of MHC1, MHC2, and co-stimulators. All right, and then we have the transforming growth factor or TGF beta, and the source is the T cells, mononuclear phagocytes, and it functions to inhibit proliferation and differentiation of T cells, and also inhibits activation of macrophages. So the transforming growth factor, it helps to control the immune response. So it dampens down the immune response, okay? Because it prevents the proliferation of the T cells, prevents proliferation of macrophages, okay? So of course, once you activate the immune response, if you don't stop the immune response, That's when you have those, autoimmune diseases. uh, you have to be able to turn off the immune response. So the transforming growth factor beta is one of the mechanism how the immune response is stopped for after it does its job. Okay, and we have lymphotoxin. Okay, which is the source is T lymphocytes, and the function is to activate the endothelial cells, okay, and also activates the neutrophils. All right, so that's the end of this review series. Make sure the next one is review series number 8. Click subscribe, okay, so that you can receive notification for the next video series. If you have any questions, again, comment, okay. And some of you who have emailed me have already sent you some the responses, okay. So check your emails.